So I'm borrowing a microphone, and it honestly kind of looks like one of those ones that you get interviewed in with. But anyway, so we're now on Keeping and Binding 13. Binding 13 is the first book. Um, sorry, got a bit of a cough. Yes, Binding 13 is the first book in this series, and as you can see, I've already read it. Ooh, love a thick book. Alright, I love thick books. um, and this is Keeping 13. So the top ones here are anything that's, I guess, spicy related, which in the first one there was like nothing. There was nothing. And I'll show you another example of another book. Here, as you can see, there's more on the top. But let's get back to Binding 13 and Keeping 13. So this is the Boys of Totem series, and basically it says on the front of the first book, the game was everything until he met her. And it is the first book about Shannon and Johnny. There are 5 books in total, I think, so far, and I think she's bringing out another one, but not really sure yet. She hasn't, I don't think she's confirmed anything yet, but Johnny is a rugby player and primed for stardom. Shannon arrives at a new private school. She's the shy girl with hidden bruises. Now, the trigger warnings with this are explicit sexual content, which is kind of obvious, graphic violence, mature themes, and abuse. The books do have a small paragraph about the trigger warnings and that this book is 18 plus. I have read this. I don't think it should be 18 plus. I think it should maybe be a really mature 16-year-old, 17-year-old. As I did read this when I was 16 last year, and I thought it was great. Like, I read the first book in 3 days. I know. I had nothing to do. But yeah, I read it in like 3 days, and I honestly thought it was amazing. But Keeping 13 continues on about how Shannon and Johnny can their love survive the greatest test, which is also on the front of the book, which I can't even really show you guys without being like really awkward about it. But yeah, it's on the front. It continues with the same trigger warnings, and both books are based in South Ireland, and it also contains some Ireland slang, and at the start of the book there is a glossary for any books that you don't understand. Now, I'm going to go into a deeper summary and my opinions of the book now. Okay, so I did change, I did just put on a jumper, because it's cold as hell. But anyway, with the summary and my opinions of the book, the first book was really, really great. Also, before I continue, I am trying to keep it so I'm the same distance, as I've kind of just realized if I go further back, you can't really hear me. If I go too close up, you can hear me, and it's really annoying, but I'm going to try to keep it like right here. But Binding 13, I did say I finished it in 3 days. The ending really, the ending of the first book made me read the second book in, again, like maybe 5 or 6 days. That's mostly because I had school. I know, how depressing that I couldn't read a book, but yeah. So the first book was really great. The second one was sorry. The second one wasn't as great due to the fact that I mean, this could be a spoiler, but I don't think it is. But Johnny in the second book is going to do some rugby thing, I think. From what I remember, I would probably just quickly read the back and I'll find out. But no, I think he's still in school. But I just didn't enjoy the second book as much because it was kind of a bit more sad, as I think Johnny had more stuff going on in his life, and obviously same with Shannon. Um, if you're not into big books, I'm pretty sure I do have a lot of other really depressing books. Um, but I do have another video that is almost 2 hours long, and you don't need to watch the whole thing, but I do recommend you to watch it because I do make a lot of recommendations with a heap of depressing topics, but they're a lot shorter. Um, but yeah, this book, I don't want to say it was depressing, and I don't want to say it was shit. And I don't want to say it's a 5 out of 5. The first book was a 5 out of 5. The second book, I mean, it was more heartwarming because of the ending. And, like, I guess, as one may say, they had a happier ending, obviously. I'd say the second one's a 4, but, like, with the how it ended, I'd say it's a 5. I don't know, you're probably like, how is it a 4 but a 5 at the same time? Well, this story is a 5, but I just couldn't get into the whole story until, like, halfway. I know. I was, like, really into it at the start, and then I did lose a little bit of interest in the middle, and then I got back onto interest. That's why it's a 4, because it didn't keep my interest the whole time. I did find this on Book Talk last year when it, like, came out. Not really came out, but, like, more like when people were finding the book. And sorry, my voice is really croaky right now, but but yeah, I did find it on, as some would say, the Book Talk, and honestly, it was really good. The 2 books were really good. I haven't read the other 2 about Johnny and Odif, I think her name is. I'm not really sure. Another good thing about the books, which I did forget to mention, is that at the start of the book, it does have name pronunciations, and it's apparently Eof. E-F? I don't know. I'm pretty dyslexic, so I'm not very good at reading out loud. But if you are to read a really big book and it's really depressing, I do recommend read these 2 books, okay? Just read these 2 books. If you don't like these 2 or the first one, then don't read anymore. If you really like the first one, you're going to love the second one. But I haven't read any more, so I'm not going to recommend any more than these ones. I think these are both about 800 pages. As you can see, they're actually pretty thick. But with the cover, as you can see, this is the first one. There's a broken heart. No one's healed. And then it's, like, reversed. Which I'm not sure if anyone... I don't think anyone actually noticed this with the covers. Because every time I say this to someone, they're like, really? You noticed that? But the broken heart is the cover for this one. And the actual cover is the full heart. Which I just thought was really interesting. And I think it's more showing that it's, like, the orange heart, I think, is more just, like, their present, and then in the second book, it's their past. I know, you're probably like, what the fuck? But that's what I'm thinking. With the first book, there was no spice at all, and I was a little bit depressed about that, but I think it did brought out the romance more in it, as you do not need spice to have romance. You don't need to do things with someone to show that you love them. And then in this one, obviously, they had a little bit more spice. I don't think there's much else to talk about with the books. If you're not into really big books, I'm going to find some books like this. Obviously, maybe a different setting. But yeah, I'm going to find different books with the same kind of genre. for you guys who don't want to read really big books but really like the story. But honestly, you could just read these 2 books and not continue with the rest of them. And if you're wondering what I'm playing with, it's Blue Tack. Been playing with it the whole time. But yeah, if you don't want to read the whole series, the 2 books are still really great. But yeah, other than that, there's not much else I can say about the books. But yeah, I do hope you read them. If you're under 16, please ask a parent before you read it. Because I think it's honestly worth reading, and I think they only put it 18 plus because of the abuse and violence in the book. But yeah, there's not much sexual context in it. So if you're a parent and your child asks you to read this, and that's why you're watching this, I say read it. There's like almost 0 to no sexual context until the second one. If you're a child and you want to read this, I would ask your parents, because they're the ones that's your parents. If you're over 17, there's no point. There's no point asking your mum and dad. But yes, you have a great day. Please look into these books. And yeah, have a really great day. I do hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope you enjoy your day and have a day you deserve.